Hey, you got to kill me. Yeah, choke me out.
Yeah.
Listed, I'm doing.
Listen to his song. And it's all orchestrated. Okay, all love back and all
Oh,
the
we haven't.
We're about to start.
Yes, ma'am.
1 second.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. Joint Community Development, Health and Human Services Committee. The Board of Elders meeting meeting can be viewed on the Board of Elders YouTube. Board of Elders New Haven notice. The Joint Community Development, Health and Human Service Committee will meet in person on Wednesday, April 16, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Board of Elders Chambers, 165 Church Street, New Haven, to hear from the city departments and agencies with hardware proposals concerning the following item, and subsequently meet again at the following dates. April 29th at 6:30 p.m., Wednesday, May 21st at 6 p.m. LM-2025-0179, order of the Board of Elders of the City of New Haven, approving the City of New Haven's 2025-2029 5-year Consolidated Plan 2025-2026 Annual Action Plan Statement of Activities and Use of Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Home Investment Partnership, Home, Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, HOPWA, and Emergency Solutions Grants, ESG, funds to be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for federal financial assistance for planning and community development activities under the provisions of Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, PL 93-383, the Cranston-Gonzalez National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended, PL 101-625, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act of 2000 as amended, PL 106-400, the Homeless Emergency Assistance and Rapid Transition to Housing HARP Act of 2009, and the AIDS Housing Opportunity Act, PL 102-550, hereafter referred to as Housing and Community Development Programs Act, and for activities to be funded by program income and/or reprogramming funds from prior grant years. This item is on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street, New Haven, per order Honorable Carmen Rodriguez and Honorable Eli Sabin, co-chairs, attest. Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need any accessibility related accommodations, please contact 203-946-7651 or 203-946-8582 TTY in accordance with the City of New Haven COVID-19 guidelines. Masks are now optional. Public may send comments/testimony via email to publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask that my colleagues introduce themselves, starting from the right.
Frank Redenti, Ward 15.
Brittany Mayberry, Night Black, Ward 20.
Eli Sabin, Ward 7.
Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Frank Douglas, Ward 2, Community Development.
Brian Wingate, Ward 29, Beaver Hills Community Development.
Sarah Miller, Ward 14.
Thank you. And at this time, we're going to ask for the presenters to come forward. And per our usual responsibilities, if you can give your name and address for the record. And you can always move the mics closer to you so that everyone in attendance. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Ron Gizzi, 219 Rainbow Terrace, Hamden.
Hello, my name is Tamara McDonald. I live on Whitney Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut, 06511.
Allison,
Yeah, that's good. That's a lot. Yeah.
Sorry.
Enough to get that
That's
far.
okay.
That's what we want.
Allison Harrington, Hampton, Connecticut.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have another consolidated plan year, and this year we're actually working on a 5-year plan as well as the annual action plan. So actually, I'm going to let Cameron review everything that's in the packet.
So in addition to the budget book, which is the large bound book, you also have a copy of the PowerPoint that we created that explains the process in a bit more details. We've also included the 3 survey results, which include the resident survey in English, the resident survey in Spanish, and then also the agency survey as well. And then we also have the mayor's proposed areas of service. So a lot of additional documents.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with the book here. And this is a lot of information that you've seen in past years. I'm not going to go through every single page, but this is, again, part of the citizen participation that HUD requires, that we're going through all this information. So we have the schedule, we have links to the webinars that we've done, application, the website, the slides from the webinars, Zoom meetings. We also did a completeness check on all the applications. Let's see. So the part that we're going to be looking at tonight is going to start on page 65, and that's the mayor's proposed recommendations. So that lists all the activities that people apply for with a description, the amount requested, and what the mayor proposed in a description. So we'll go through that. And we have page numbers to make sure everybody is on the right page. And then there's a few analysis in the back. And then we have all the slides from the 5-year presentation overview. Okay, and then any questions on that, just let us know. And then now we're going to start with this one here. Okay, so again, we are starting a new 5-year plan. So we have a 5-year plan that's going to start July 1st, 2026, goes through June 30th, 2030. And then part of that 5-year plan is the annual action plan, which starts on July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Okay, then on the second page, this is just an overview of what's included in this packet here. And then on slide number 3, this is a review of the process. And again, HUD wants a lot of citizen participation, public comments, so we're meeting all those requirements. The 2 meetings that we're having now also is a requirement, so that's part of it, so we are meeting that requirement. Again, the 5-year plan, and within the 5-year plan, we have an action plan for each year. And then we report on accomplishments every year, and that's going to be done through the CAPE. Okay, then slide 4. This is an explanation of the 5-year plan and the annual action plan. And statutorily, this is a congressional statute that the plan has to be submitted by August 16th. If we don't, then we don't get the funding. Slide number 5 is when the CAPER is due. That's the reporting. And that's all financial and programmatic reports for every activity receiving funding. And that's due on September 28th of each year. And then slide 6, we have a timeline. So we start the process in November. We'll start notifying people. We have a webinar in December, early December. We publish the applications. Everything is online. We used OpenGov this year. We went from Bonfire to OpenGov. So that's mid-December. And then this, about early January is when the applications will be due back. Okay, then slide 7, again, that's an overview of what the 5-year plan is and what it includes. And the dates, again, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2030. Okay, and then slide 8 is an overview of the 4 funding sources that are received by the federal government. So CDBG, ESG, Home, and HOPWA. And over that 5-year period, it should be, if we remain level funding, it'll be about $34 million over that 5 years. And then slide 9 is just how it filters down from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to the city, and then to local nonprofits and also city departments. So for next year, we're anticipating level funding of $6.165 million. We haven't heard anything yet on funding levels, so we are anticipating level funding right now. And then we have a funding breakdown on slide number 10, and most of it is CDBG, it's 55%. And then on slide 11, there's just a funding breakdown for the past 2 years, and then our anticipated allocation for the next year. So one of the new things that were added to this on slide 12 is a funding contingency clause. So in past years, we've had a across the board increase or decrease by a percentage. We're not sure of funding levels right now, so in case there are significant cuts, and this is part of the order that was submitted, the package will go back to the mayor. The administration will make recommendations again, resubmit it to the committee for review, and then approval by the Board of Alders. So, if everyone's okay with that, we can review this. If we need to make changes, that's fine, we can do that. And then put that in the final order. And then on slide 13, this is the application process that we go through in the budget office. So we do review all the applications for completeness, confirming all the questions have been answered. We do a financial review. We do an eligibility checklist. Then we'll summarize all the applications, and that's in this book here. We're checking with making sure leverage funding is accurate. If people say they have funding, we're asking for letters, confirmation of that. If there's pending and they're applying for it, they can include their applications. Or if they're planning on applying for funding, we'll include that as well. So then we put all that together, we meet with the coordinators. They will make recommendations to the mayor. The mayor finalizes the recommendations for you guys, and that's in here as well. And then finally, we work with the committee to finalize the funding recommendations. Right, so Allison is going to go over some of the eligibility categories.
Okay. So eligible categories under CDBG is a variety of options, including acquisition of real properties, disposition, public facilities and improvements, clearance, demolition, public services, interim assistance, relocation, rehabilitation, construction of housing, code enforcement, economic development activities, special activities by CBO.
That's a community-based development organization.
That. Homeownership assistance planning and capacity building, city departments only, and program administration costs. City departments only 20% max. There's also many other subcategories, HUD matrix codes under each main category, such as youth, elderly, disabled, and health services. Okay. So for ESG or emergency solutions grants, it's either case management, operations, or logistical costs for shelters. Sorry, slide number 15. Admin costs up to 7.5% for agencies. Office-based rental for administrative services only. Emergency shelter, supportive services, street outreach, homeless prevention, and rapid rehousing. Okay. So slide number 16 is home eligible activities. So these are going to be housing development, new construction, admin costs up to 10%, down payment assistance, emergency shelter, supportive services, street outreach, homeless prevention, and rapid rehousing. Okay, slide 17 is for HOPWA, so housing opportunities for people with HIV/AIDS. Okay. So there's case management, admin up to 7% for agencies, office-based rental for admin services only, supportive services, street outreach, office-based rental for direct supportive services, tenant-based rental assistance, short-term rent, mortgage, and utility assistance, and permanent housing placement. They did, during COVID, extend some of these services that are available for the clients as well. So it can be, if they need to take a taxi to their doctor's office or something like that, if they need a phone card, all of that. So it was nice that they were able to extend upon that so that we're able to give additional services to these clients. Okay, slide 18. So proposals must meet one of the 3 national objectives. This is going to be low, moderate income persons or households, elimination of slum and blight, and urgent needs such as natural disasters, which rarely are used. Nonprofit agencies and city departments must be able to demonstrate measurable outcomes and beneficiaries, and individual activities must benefit at least 51% of the low, moderate income persons, but not less than 70% overall during the 3-year certification period. And then slide 19. So funding percentage caps. CDBG for public service is 15% max. Planning and admin is 20% max. Hardware, there's no funding cap. For ESG, planning and admin again is 7.5%. Shelter is 60%, and prevention is 40%. For home, admin is a 10% max. CHODO is 15% minimum. Housing development, 85% funding cap. And then HOPWA is planning and admin, 3% max. Projects, no funding cap. Slide 20. So, for committee amendment rules, hardware funds may not be revised to public service or planning and admin activities, but public service or planning and admin funds may be revised to hardware activities. Public service funds may not be revised to planning and admin. Planning and admin funds may not be revised to public service. Amendments to public service activities must stay within the public service category. And then finally, amendments to planning and admin activities must stay within the same category. All amendments must include a source, so please be aware of the timeliness and expenditures of funding regulations. Yearly unspent public service funds and planning and admin funds may only be used for hardware activities in the following year. Hardware funds may be carried over from year to year. So essentially, if an agency does not spend their funding from the previous fiscal year, it doesn't carry over under public service, it moves to hardware. So we don't have carryover under public service for this.
So we can talk about these 3 slides a little bit more for the new Boulder, Mayberry, Black, just to give you a little bit more information on the categories. Like for CDBG, we have 3 different categories. So we have a public service category, which is all service related. So that could be a youth program or an elderly program. So that's all soft costs. It's actually programs. Mm-hmm. For hardware, that could be housing. It could be a public improvement to a youth facility, something like that. And also in that hardware portion, economic development could also be included in hardware.
Can I just, one thing with hardware though is we want to emphasize the fact that the project needs to be construction ready when they do apply. Because oftentimes people will apply and their project is not ready. And so we want to obviously provide service or funding to agencies that are able to
Yeah, and that is part of the order as well, that should be ready and used within a year. And then the planning and admin, we keep that internally with the city, and that's for some staff that we have that actually work on these funding sources.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you have a question, Alder Wingate? Okay. Okay. All right, so the next section we have is some of the outreach that we've been doing for the 5-year plan. So Karen is going to talk about that.
You can move closer to you, no worries. Feel comfortable.
Is this a good? Okay. So kind of as I mentioned before, public outreach is a required part of this application process. To receive federal funding, we have to provide evidence and good effort to engage the public and what they feel the most relevant needs in their communities are. So I'm going to kind of talk through the different steps we did to try to engage in the public. So just kind of like an overview, some of the public outreach can include publishing documents for public comment, sharing online surveys for public feedback, holding community engagement meetings, soliciting public feedback in website postings, flyer dispersal, and community meetings. And this is important because this is a required part of the application, and it also allows us as a city department and the city as a whole to connect with the community and kind of address the main priorities and needs of our residents, which is important. So one of the ways we did this was by facilitating our neighborhood specialists and the community management teams. And a key way they facilitated discussions in these meetings were the community questions, which we previously had written and asked the community management teams and neighborhood specialists to discuss. And so you can find a copy of these questions on page 23. An example of this is, in your opinion, what are the greatest housing issues facing New Haven? And these questions touch on various different topics that the funding categories aim to improve on. On page 24 and page 25, we have copies of the flyers that we gave to the community management teams and neighborhood specialists. These teams disperse these flyers in areas of high traffic within their neighborhoods, such as like the Q House, for example, to encourage participation. We also created the flyer in English and Spanish to try to increase our reach with that as well. We also have a copy on page 26 of the social media posts that we sent out that include the QR codes to the surveys. And then kind of the main way we engaged with public comment is the data we collected from the surveys, which are included in your supplemental materials. So we have the agencies and then the 2 resident surveys, the one in English and one in Spanish. And you can find links to these surveys on page 27 of your packet. And then I'm going to discuss briefly some of the survey results. I'm not going to go super in depth in terms of brevity, but it's all included in the actual response summaries. So as a highlight, a total of 88 surveys were submitted for residents. 87 were in English and 1 was in Spanish. And respondents were primarily people who rented or owned homes in New Haven, and 11% were parents, which I thought was an interesting statistic. And then as an overview, we asked people to rank the top 5 needs in the community, but I'm going to be discussing the top 1 for each of the categories. So people cited for their top housing need as being more affordable rental homes, the top area of homeless and housing service needs as being additional needs for supportive services to prevent homelessness. The top area for supportive housing needs in the community was to increase housing and supportive services for people with mental disabilities. And then the top public facility needs in the community was cited as being neighborhood facility and care centers with a wide variety of services. This is interesting because in the survey we had broken them down into subcategories. And so this shows that people want kind of a one-stop shop for services. And then for community and public service needs in the community, after school and evening activities were considered a priority. In terms of infrastructure, people cited street improvements as a top concern, for top neighborhood improvement needs in the community. People cited trash and debris removal as a top concern. And then for the top economic development needs in the communities, people cited the need to attract living wage jobs. So then I'm going to go through the same type of thing for the agency survey results. It's also important to clarify that agencies would be nonprofits and people who are getting the funds from this. So it's a bit of a different perspective. And the survey also looked a little bit different. So the top priorities of agencies included improvement for choices of safe, supportive, and affordable housing opportunities for all New Haven citizens. 90% of agencies ranked this as very important. Another goal was to stabilize neighborhoods in response to changes in the existing housing market to prevent housing foreclosures, with 74% of agencies citing this as a top priority. Providing a continuum of care for supportive housing opportunities that provide safe shelter with homeless children, youth, families, and individuals work their way towards self-sufficiency, with 83.9% citing this as a top priority. In addition, there was a desire to improve access to homeownership for low, moderate, and middle-income families by creating a housing choice. And then the last final priority of agencies was to support health-conscious, community-friendly neighborhood revitalization activities, providing improvements and facilities that encourage positive physical and recreational activity, with 61.3%, and a total of 31 agencies responded to the survey. Some of the other additional priorities that were cited was accessibility improvements to public facilities, anti-blight efforts and property maintenance, strengthening communities and neighborhoods through public services and facilities and programs. Additionally, people cited the need for affordable and accessible childcare facilities and more investment in public-private infrastructure to allow for job growth. And then something I also would like to point out was 70% of the agencies said that the city's current programs are not adequate enough to address their community's needs. So that was something to consider as we move forward in the future. And thank you guys.
And the survey is still open to.
The survey is open until the end of April, so we're hoping that there will be more responses. We want to get as much community engagement as possible. We cut it off. These statistics are current as of Monday.
So everything that Cameron just described, that is in the larger book here, and that's on page 92. And that's the goals for the 5-year goals that we've been working on. So that all this information gets translated into these goals here. And then, again, it's a large book that we put together for the 5-year plan. There's a lot of information in there. And we'll have a public comment period for that. It'll be a 30-day public comment period. That'll be available to you once we get a better draft for that information. So that's important. Okay, I think that's the main thing that we wanted to talk about. So if we have any questions about this section, this presentation now, we can take some questions on this now.
I'm going to call on Alder Sarah Miller.
No, thank you for the presentation. On page 20, you say public service or plan admin funds may be revised to hardware activities. And then it says that they must stay within the public service category. I just wanted you to clarify what exactly can be done.
So with the public service, that's the 15% cap. So we cannot go over that 15% cap. Planning and admin, we have a 20% cap. We can't go over that cap. The hardware, there is no funding cap on that. So if we decided to say, hey, we're going to take all 100% of this funding and put it into hardware, we can do that. So, but if we're at that 15% max with public service, we can't say, okay, let's take some hardware money and put it into public service, because we'll exceed that 15% cap. We could go lower on the public service cap if we wanted to move something to hardware, or same thing with planning and admin. We can do that and move to hardware, but you can't move to hardware to either of those. That would exceed the cap.
Okay. So the cap is the key.
Yes. Yeah. So usually we budget right to the 15% cap. And so if you want to increase something, we also have to decrease something.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
And I think, as we go forward, you're definitely, making everybody aware who hasn't been part of this, that we have a hearty conversation and keep you busy with
Yes.
where we can move funding from, just to, so it could be correct. So
Yeah, any questions, yeah.
we'll all convene together, yes.
Yeah, and then the other thing we have to think about too is with the amendment process is a cutoff date. And that will be the co-chairs.
Yes.
We will work on a cutoff date before deliberation.
Question for Karen, I know you worked very hard on this with the QR code. Through our director, perhaps resending that QR code to Director Lucas, so that we have 30 alders here, that we can forward it to our communities.
Yeah,
To see if we can get more service at the table before you said April 30th?
yes.
Okay, that way we can assist you that way.
Yes, I do think I sent it to the majority of the alders at the beginning of this process.
Okay.
But I can definitely resend it.
If you can resend it to all of us again,
I can definitely.
I'm just gonna say, we're gonna try to assist you as possible. Life gets busy for everybody,
Yeah.
including our residents, and this is a small group of people that responded, so we're hoping we can connect more people and have you reading surveys for quite a while, so we're gonna assist that way.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
The more participation, the better. So.
Thank you. Good. Okay, thank you.
Good.
As
you,
always,
guys.
thank you. Every year you keep us
On
on
track.
Thank you, on track, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so before we get into the other presentations, I just want to talk about the admin requests that we have. So there is admin, again, for each of the 4 categories: CDBG, ESG, home, and HOPWA. So we do have city personnel on all 4 of the grants. Some of them are split, some of them are 100% on the grant. So it covers a wide variety. There's a lot of reporting for the funds. It's very, very heavy on reporting. So we have people doing the reporting. We have people, they're doing invoices, they're doing POs.
Could you tell us what document you're working on?
So I just have just a sheet that I'm
No worries.
going through. I mean, I can give this to you guys after.
Yeah,
I can make
that's
copies
fine.
for it after, just so you can see. And it's just listing everything of what people are doing for the 4 projects. So it is, we're reporting on the HUD system. It's called IDIS, Integrated Disbursement Information System. So that's everything that's reported, programmatic, financial. That's what we're doing the drawdowns. We have people doing contracts. We have people paying invoices. And then we also have programmatic people who are looking at agencies, making sure that they're meeting their goals, meeting what the benefits that they have, reviewing invoices. That does take a lot of time because it is report heavy. In each payment request that someone sends in, we have backup documentation that shows during this quarter we served 10 people or 10 youth, and this is what we did. There are some regulatory requirements also that this funding covers. So that's environmental, there's historic issues, there are lead issues, there are a lot of regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a copy of it. So basically that's the 5-year or the 4 admin categories for funding. So any questions on that?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right, so I think we're good with the overview and the admin applications, and now we can move into the city presentations of their projects. So that's going to start on page, that's going to be on page 65 of this book. And then on page 60, we have the list of page numbers. So I'll be here to guide everybody with the page numbers as well. So we have the alphabetical listing and then the page number next to it. Yes. Okay, so we'll head back in. What's that?
Which document are you asking? You want to see copy from us? Through the chair,
Yes.
through the chairs.
Yeah, we'll get that over to everyone on the committee.
This
We
one
can go
here.
make copies.
Yeah, we'll make copies.
No, that gentleman behind is one of the.
Okay. All right, so now we'll just call up
Through the chair.
City departments. I think we have economic development here. We have the housing administration and development department here. We have some other, that's it, just economic development and housing.
And then.
And then the nonprofit agencies will be after that. Okay,
And if any of those things are page, reference back to page 60, I know last year we did a lot of that, just, so we stay on track. Thank you.
yeah, and we'll be here so we can help you with
Yeah.
the page numbers. We'll
Oh,
just
yes, thank you, as
we'll
usual.
yell them out.
We'll take it.
It's a team effort.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, economic. We're gonna start with economic development, and everybody knows in the order they're coming up, right?
See you first.
City.
Good evening. Name and address for the record before you all present. Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Michael Piscatelli. I'm the Economic Development Administrator for the city, and I reside at 353 Summit Street.
Kathy Schroeder, Deputy Director of Housing Development Administration, Economic Development, 170 Gorman Road, East Haven, Connecticut.
Lil Snyder, Program Manager for the Small Contractor Development Program, 1 Griffin Pond Road, Branford.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Just make some opening remarks for you. Kathy and Lil will then go through some of the programs, and then Kathy Graves and Lee and Brendan, 2 of our team members who are not here tonight, I'll go through their proposed requests as well. First, want to thank you for your support over the years for the Consolidated Plan and CDBG process. You heard a little bit about the overview from Ron, Cameron, and Allison just now. In some ways, you're listening, but you're not listening until Cameron had mentioned that 70% of the respondents who said that city resources are not sufficient to meet the need in the city. And so as we feel the real headwinds coming on CDBG and our programs, wanted to express the gratitude that the city staff has for the support over the years. I don't know how we approach anti-blight in the city, code enforcement, res rehab, neighborhood main streets, and special projects that really have great wealth creation impact, like small contractor and small business, without this program and support. You will hear when we go through the regular presentation on the 24th, on the general fund side, we are 2% of the city's budget. So all of the EDA programs, from the building officials to traffic, to everyone, it's 2% of the general fund. So our dependency on this funding stream is really, really important, and which is why the impact is I think very meaningful. Some of the things that we do, and the projects that are out there. So I'll pause there, but we'll come back to some of that impact as we go through some of the various programs for the other team members. But in fairness to maybe Kathy starts as our in-house expert and administrative lead on the housing side. We can talk a little bit about that.
Good evening. I will be speaking in reference to home funding. I'll tell you the pages. So I will be talking about home, which is on page 86, and pages 68 and 65, which is CDBG residential rehab and economic development main streets.
Which one do you want to start?
So we're starting 86,
We're
correct?
gonna start on, let's start on 65, so that's the easiest one, right? That's the first one. So, economic development Main Streets is in reference to housing development along your main thoroughfare corridors, which is Dixwell, Grand Avenue, and the ask was for specifically project delivery. Housing Development Administration is made up of 9 staff members. Did you guys get a copy of this?
Yeah.
Okay. So, 9 staff members, a deputy EDA, a deputy administrative services, a manager of neighborhood and commercial development, and 6 project managers. This line item is project delivery of two project managers that delivering housing projects.
Mhm.
So it supports all of the fundamentals of what housing administration and development do, right? So home supports one personnel person. So out of the 9 people that are in the division, 5 of them are supported with CDBG and home. And the second application for CDBG is residential rehab, and you'll find that on page 68. And that is also for program delivery, which is our programs that we deliver are housing development gap financing programs, CDBG hardware, public facility improvements, down payment and closing costs, energy efficiency repair program, the elderly and disabled emergency repair program, security deposit program, your below market rate registry, nonprofit technical assistance, and our marketing programs. On page 86 is your home.
Sorry, can I just stop
Sure,
a second?
absolutely.
For the one on page 68, which of these, which of these were you talking about?
It's so small on mine. It's the bottom one. It's
Right,
called City of
residential
New
rehab.
Haven, EDA housing, residential rehab. So that staff's 4 people, 3 people. It says 4, but it should be 3. I have it right. Yes, should be 3. Not 4. And then the 65 is 2. Let's make sure that's right.
This is
Yes. That's right. And then home, which is on page 86, that funds the programs that we run for homeowners and housing development gap financing. And then there's one, as Rhonda talked about, administration admin for home there's a cap on that as well. That serves 1 personnel. So with your home on page 86, it's broken down between down payment assistance, ERAP, home admin, and housing development. And then we get program income if somebody pays off a loan within the 5 years or 10 years, depending on the program, then that goes back out to the community. So the outcomes, just so you know what the division actually delivers, the deliverables, from July 1st of 2023 on the back of your little handy dandy memo. I'm just going to cover some interesting facts that I found when I did it, because you know, your daily work, you don't realize exactly. So we are monitoring right now, managing in the division 65 housing projects.
65?
65. There is a number of housing units that are in the pre-development financing stage of about 3,037. And there's 2,450 in construction. This does not include the housing authority projects. This is outside those projects. So a total in the pipeline, excluding housing authority, is 5,487. 1,230 of those are affordable. It is an investment into our neighborhoods of $1.2 billion.
Alderman, yes.
Oh, boy.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, Co-Chair. Ms. Catherine,
Yes, sir.
in those numbers that you put together,
Mhm.
is there a line item of the areas that those affordable houses are in?
I could give you that. I don't have it in front of me.
It would be greatly appreciated. I believe
Absolutely.
it would be beneficial to, us to see that. So through the chair, may I
Yes.
request that we get the
Neighborhood,
neighborhoods?
you got it. So your investment, your total investment for all of those are about $1.2 billion in your neighborhoods. We are investing about, the city invests about only 2.4 million that we're overseeing. So your residential loan programs, well, is another fascinating number. We've taken in about 20 applications on down payment. We've closed 18, there's 2 in process. Your energy efficiency program, we've taken in 36 applications, and we're in the process of 12, we've closed 24. These programs matter to our homeowners, they're very important. Elderly and disabled especially, because they are in their homes, they're living in their homes, and they want to stay there. Their biggest issue is homeowners insurance, and keeping that current, and also repairing their homes. So it's like, we see a lot of furnaces and a lot of roofs, seems to be the big one. So we took in about 11, 5 are in process and 6 are closed. Now, your security deposit program, we've taken in 1,023 applications since 2020. We've closed 680 of those. We've impacted households of 680 households, and we've impacted 1,966 persons with that program. Yeah, it's wild, right? And we have 4,952 units in the below market registry. Thank you.
Questions
Oh,
from
really?
Madam Chair?
No problem.
On these residential loan programs, the numbers seem to me small. Like, maybe I'm wrong about that. Do you generally utilize all the dollars available?
Yes, we're actually out of the elderly funding right now. We've rolled into CDBG residential rehab, because usually that's funded with home, but yes.
So, you know.
We don't get huge dollars
So
for these
40,
programs.
40 people who got down payment assistance in the whole city, and that utilizes all the dollars we have available?
And that is the reason the down payment assistance program, according to the home, is only about $150,000 allocated to that annually, so yes. And we had a very slow year this year with purchasing of homes because of value and interest rates that skyrocketed during this past year.
Okay.
So
And then
that's
just one other follow-up, is it first come, first serve, or are there, is there any sort of
It's a rolling
prioritization based
application.
on need? So it's rolling, so.
It's rolling.
Once the money's gone, it's gone. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one question about the Main Streets Commercial Development Program on page 65. It looks like this is not something that we put money towards last year. Is that correct?
Correct.
Could you talk a little bit about why we're deciding to prioritize this, where the money is coming from, if it's coming from other programs that we did fund last year?
We had a large rollover last year in that fund. So what happened was the program delivery was used on the rollover. So it wasn't funded again for the next year.
I see. And why was there a large rollover from the previous year?
Because the projects don't move as fast as we'd like to when we're funding and finding financing. So a lot of money would roll over year to year. So that was a big one. And I think the catalyst for that was the use did not come to fruition when it was coupled together. So that is why. So right now we have a balance of only 350,000 in that fund.
Okay, and we're planning to add another 200,000.
But we're adding 200, but the need to support the project, the program delivery is 329, so 129,000 is coming out of that balance.
Okay. but that means we're gonna retain some of the balance.
We're gonna retain some of the program money and use some of the program money towards program delivery.
Okay. But there will still be some money that would be rolled over to next.
There'll be some money sitting there for program funding, not for program delivery, for the program itself, so we can invest it into a project.
Nice, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Turning over back toward the front, we'll go over the economic development programs. So under the title bar that's economic development, which will be on page 3, we have 2 major programs that are CDBG supported. One is the Small Business Resource Center. This is the program we've shared funding with the general fund and with CDBG. Kathy Graves is our deputy director in charge. And then it also supports 1 business counselor and 1 administrative assistant out of CDBG. I'll give you a second to find it. It'll be on page, will be on my page 3. Lots of editing to it. You'll see the title block says economic development.
Can you check that for us?
250, yeah, on here it says 250.
So small contract
And no
development
page.
is on page 65.
Page
65, thank you.
Thank you. So we're gonna get take direction from you, so we can stay on track with you.
And it's also,
The help.
small business resources also on 65.
Okay, 65. Sorry about that, Director.
So really 3 big programs that this group runs. One is coordinating and facilitating grant applications with our partners. As you know, we have a $10 million fund with the Community Foundation, so we support those applications for New Haven-based businesses. Over 400 have been supported through that program since its launch. Then for more mature businesses, there's the Goldman Sachs program where as businesses grow and mature, Goldman Sachs picks up the more intensive technical training. But the one thing we're most proud of is the DNA for an Entrepreneur, which every year we do 3 or 4 cohorts, and about 30 people are going through the program right now. This is the program that helped launch Bloom in Westville, Ricky D's over in Science Park, really great graduates that have come through this program. So, of the programs that we do, and that pays for the technical assistance, some back office support, the teachers, great partnership with Southern Connecticut State University that's now forming, is all funded out of the Small Business Resource Center account. And now I'll turn it over to Lil to talk about our parallel program for construction.
Good evening. Those of you who have heard me in the past talk about how passionate I am about the small contractor development program, I continue to emphasize how important it is to our community. A small fact, when the program started, only 3% of the minority contractors in New Haven were receiving city construction dollars. At the end of 2024, New Haven-based construction businesses received 38% of the construction dollars, and minority businesses received 20%. I mean, when you think of the impact of the dollars going into the community and the smaller businesses having an opportunity to participate in our city projects, and that's because of the program. And it's because then the alders back then had the foresight to realize that, unfortunately, we have to have a law that says you have to do it. No one wants to do it voluntarily. And you've heard me say, the big guys just want to use the people that they have, and they don't want to invest in our community. And so a program like ours, is just so important to the small contractors in the city. And I appreciate, and so do the contractors, everything that the alders have allowed us to do with the funding as well as with the CDBG funding. And just another 375 small local contractors came through our doors last year. Not all of them got work, but they all got some type of in-person assistance, training on how to apply for a business, training where to go. And that one-on-one personal relationship is unbelievable. It just helps so much. And lastly, the 340 Dixwell project on Dixwell Avenue, the mass timber project. So far, they've had 30% minority contractors working on that job. The Curtis Cofield project, right now, as of the end of March's date, 19% MDE contractors. Again, if it wasn't for a program like ours, this wouldn't happen. And our program is the only one of its kind in the state of Connecticut. So thank you very much for everything that you do in supporting us with this program.
Thank you for that presentation.
And thank you for your support again. Very, very important programs for our city, and continue to work really hard in making sure the outcomes are felt. One thing Kathy did not mention, and I'll just put an example. If you saw, like, you might look at the budget and say, well, why do we need 3 people? Why do we need 4 people? Some of the things behind that are the counseling. So if someone walks in that their boiler broke, and it's the emotions around, can I even stay in my home, aging in place. And you will see our staff work at a very one-to-one level to make sure there's a level of comfort, and you can get through to actually signing, you're signing a loan with the city, you may have a forgivable loan that's at least pages, and it could be daunting. And so I have a lot of gratitude that the staff is well trained and the ability to do that. The other thing related to the number of housing units in construction is the monitoring, so that we're out in the field checking. Is the playground getting built at West River Ship over in West River? All of the bills and manifests that come in, there are people on our staff that actually have to review all of this to make sure that we're spending the federal government funds wisely and in a manner consistent with what the grant was. So just to give you a sense as to, we're all feeling the pressure of like, where is there room to move here? The people behind this are really, really important. Ron had mentioned we do have one city planner as well, which supports the admin side on the environmental reviews. And that's not just for the city, but that's citywide. So all of our partners that are here in the room today, it has to be cleared by the federal government for environmental impact. And that's within the environmental section of the comprehensive plan. Now, if I get this right, we can turn to LCI if it's okay.
Alder Miller, no problem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I just have one question for you. I think the program is amazing. So 20 to 30% is a huge improvement, but it's still 20 to 30%. I'm wondering, do you have a goal? What is the North Star for this program, and what is realistic for us to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years?
My goal, personally, a realistic goal would be 50%. If we could achieve that half of our construction dollars are going to New Haven businesses, we have accomplished a monumental stride. Hartford isn't anywhere near the numbers that we are doing. And so being able, of course, you'd like to see 100%. I mean, who wouldn't? But being able to work hard to get that 50%, because there's always factors that make it difficult. The construction industry is not an easy industry, which is why us being able to offer all the help we can is unbelievably great for the contractors. But a 50% goal would be a very high number, and it would be one to work towards.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for all the work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
We appreciate your giving us your information. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay. We'll move on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the time also to talk a little bit about the Little City Initiative. As you know, big reorganization last year, and we thank you for your support as we went through that process. Liam Brennan, the new executive director, is on vacation, school vacation this week. So I'll give you a top-level summary of the 2 programs. If you have any additional questions, we'll lay out the entire LCI at the meeting as well on the 24th. But as it relates to CDBG and the federal funds, which are a very important part of our housing code enforcement anti-blight program, there are 2 programs. The first, it's page 65, is the property maintenance program. So this is a 4-person crew. As you know, alders often call in blight. right? Trash on the street, tires, stuff on city lots, stuff that maybe a homeowner or a landlord is responsible to do. Then there are a bunch of things that we're responsible to do on the real estate owned portfolio, possibly boarding up a building where the owner is not responsive. We boarded up 75 buildings last year, moved 500 tons of trash off, city streets when it wasn't a DPW thing or on our own property or where the landlord has not been responsive. But the one I think was really where this team did a really good job is that fire down in the port one day. I don't know if anyone saw it. Smoke is everywhere. And the fire department, really sent us an email like, you guys got to get on this property. And it's not ours. We don't own it. Like, it's not our property. But our team, our property maintenance team, was able to work with the state, with the lawyer for the owner. We fenced the whole thing. There's a line of sight to dealing with that property. There's a lien on it. But those are pretty scary moments when you're seeing a fire like that down in the port. And it was a good example of why it's important to have a crew like this that can coordinate it and then actually get it fixed. So not that we like to see tires on the side of the road or things like that, but they are a big help to the DPW. The second program, which is much larger, is on page 68. And this is the code enforcement program. So these are your inspectors on the street, either res licensing, code enforcement, the backs, office support, all the administrative side of work. It's 20 positions, so it is our housing code enforcement program. And short of the Section 8 inspectors, which are funded separately by the Housing Authority, this is your group that's doing the res licensing inspections. They're doing your traditional code enforcement. So we had 1,800 calls for service on code enforcement last year. I mean, divide that by the number of work days, right? Just to kind of give you a sense as to how often we're out there. Or on the re-inspections as well, to clear the unit and have a make-safe environment for the tenant. And then, what you'll hear much more about on the 24th is the pipeline for res licensing. And we're finally now at a point where about 50% of the eligible properties for residential licensing are in the system. And we've retooled the whole thing, digitized the process, emails go out on a regular interval, we've modernized. And so 5,700 rental inspections, just the sort of the pipeline of the work that this team out in the field does every day, and almost entirely supported by CDBG. So you'll see that on page 68 of the budget document. I think with that, we've covered all of the city programs. Happy to answer any questions about any of those. And I know we've got some partners from the private sector with us here today, so I want to make sure we have time for that as well.
Any others?
I saw, so it looks like there's a proposed increase of $57,000 or so from last year for code enforcement. Are there any are we getting additional positions or like salary increases? Or?
Yeah, so what we do here, you'll recall a few years back, because if we were to fully fund the housing code program in CDBG, it would overwhelm the program and it wouldn't be enough for the other projects that we do or certainly supporting our partners. So the 20 people, it's blended funding. So there's the CDBG amount, and then you'll see when we present on the 24th, there's an amount that comes out of the general fund to balance out the salaries. So that 57,000 is just, making it work based on the forecast that we have today.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate the time tonight.
Thank you all.
Oh, that's it. That's it for city.
Okay.
So you have a sheet.
Yep.
Up there with the agencies that said they were coming.
Yes. Is Marrakesh here?
Right. Marrakesh is here.
is Lori McLean from Marrakesh.
Mr. Queen? Thank you. Sorry about that.
Well, good evening.
Good evening, and we'll ask that you provide your name and address for the record, please.
Do you want my address or work address? My address or work address doesn't matter. Like personal, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't want
Okay, so my name is Lori McLean. I'm the development coordinator for Marrakesh. My home address is 1042 Broad Street, Bridgeport.
Thank you.
Page 69.
So this
Page
has.
69.
Oh, it's okay. Hey, thank you. This has to do with our CDBG application. So good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. First, I want to express our sincere appreciation for the City of New Haven's long-standing support of Marrakesh and the individuals and families we serve. As many of you know, Marrakesh has been part of this community for over 50 years, providing essential services and affordable housing to adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We are proud of that legacy and proud to call New Haven our home. Tonight, I'm here to respectfully ask the city to once again consider supporting a much-needed kitchen renovation at our Whaley Avenue multi-unit affordable housing residence. This home provides more than a roof. It offers stability, dignity, and the support needed for our residents to live full and meaningful lives. We hold ourselves to a high standard and believe that safe, accessible, and appropriate housing is a right. We work every day to uphold that belief. But as Marrakesh does not receive state funding for capital improvements, we rely on partnerships like the one we've long had with the City of New Haven to help us maintain and enhance the homes our residents depend on. The kitchen at Whaley Avenue is the heart of the home. It's where meals are prepared, life skills are developed, and community is built. Right now, though, it is outdated and no longer meets the needs of the individuals who live there. Renovating it isn't just about aesthetics, it's about safety, usability, and ensuring our residents continue to feel pride and independence in their living space. We are asking for your support to help us make this critical improvement. With your continued partnership, we can ensure this home reflects the same care, dignity, and respect that define our mission. Thank you again for your time, your support, and your commitment to building a more inclusive and compassionate New Haven. Thank you.
Any questions from any committee members?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So it's kitchen.
Yep.
How many meals do you prepare on a daily basis?
As many as they eat, and some of the people come down, we have 5 residents there, so it's, daily living. It's in the morning, in the midday.
How many people you feed?
5.
5?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the city's already invested in the property. They helped us update the bathroom to make it accessible and age in place. I mean, I think that's part of the process. We have a lot of people that start and they stay the duration of their lives. They don't have any family. Marrakesh is their family. So when things start falling apart and get dilapidated and the sinks are leaking and this and that they're at the mercy of the system. So the people, they grow old there, and then it gets turned over to the next group of people who are able to live in there. So it's not a huge amount of people, but for the people that do live there, it's a vital service.
I want to thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank you too. I see some of the people out there cleaning up around that corridor. Very much for that.
Yeah, I will say we've had support from, Albertus Magnus recently came out to, and some of the other groups have been out at the Whaley. So, yeah, we're reliant on the goodwill of other people. I mean, these people can't make, so it's really, I think it's important. It shows the kindness and humanity of people involved, that they understand that. And I understand you have a lot of people that, like a soup kitchen is going to feed like a great amount more people, but at the same time, every individual matters. I don't think you can, it's hard to compare it, but I do appreciate what you're up against, and I appreciate, you've been really supportive. Like I say, we're doing the porch renovation because of the funding and the kitchen, and you've helped with the other units. So it's an ongoing thing to keep that space.
And how did that turn out?
They're about to do it. It'll be great when it's done. It's going to be good. So they're getting ready to get the bids, and it will be done.
You got the contract and everything all on it.
I think they're still getting the bids. They're required to do 3, and we'll be done by June 30th. So we're still once they start it, will go pretty quickly. So it's under control. We're working on it, so it's gonna be fabulous. And we're really grateful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anything
And as
else?
you mentioned, the porch is with the $15,000 from last year.
Right. And then we'll be putting in the rest.
And so just to circle back with what you were presenting, there are 5 residents, but this kitchen renovation is needed because, again, you mentioned that other agencies handle, a lot of more people. But this is a necessity. These folks are aging in place, as you
Right.
stated, and it's 5 individuals, but it's 365 days out of the year.
Right.
Several meals a day and whatever other provisions
And their
that they
staff
make.
that are there, they have 24/7 staff.
Correct. So it's a kitchen, but it's a usable, what I'm saying is 24/7. It's 24 hours a day, like if it was a diner, 7 days a week. So just to put.
No,
that
yeah,
in
they
perspective.
totally live there. They're residents. It's an apartment. It's not like a day.
Understood.
Yeah, so you're absolutely correct. It's
So thank you.
every
I
day.
just wanted to put that out there because I'm hearing you, and I just wanted to be clear that it is used.
Yeah, every day.
Every day. Thank you
Yeah,
for
they
that.
live there.
We appreciate what you do for our folks.
And we appreciate you
Thank
too.
you
I
for
mean,
your
the city's been really supportive of Mayor Kesha. That's part of why we've been able to be doing what we do for as long as we have. Because we do have the support of city, the community, the people, we're a recognizable organization. So anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Consideration and
Thank you.
we're gonna find me if you have any more questions, but thank you.
Thank you. The next person would be Ms. Jen Bayer from Towers Foundation.
Page 70.
Hi.
Good evening. Name and address for the record, please.
Jennifer Barron Bayer, Deer Run Road in Woodbridge.
Thank you.
I'm here representing the Towers Foundation, Towers at Tower Lane. And just first want to say thank you so much to the City of New Haven and for CDBG funding, which has really helped us in the past. I would say is important now more than ever, as we rely on federal funds that are either at risk or being rescinded right now. So the Towers at Tower Lane, for those of you who may not know, we are a 328 unit HUD 202 community for very low and very low income elderly people. We serve about 380 in our community. The average annual income is $18,900. The average age is 80. 70% of our folks need assistance with their activities of daily living. We're independent housing with wraparound support services provided by the Towers Foundation, which raises grants and private dollars to provide all of the services that are going to keep people in community, living independently, longer, and out of long-term care. So in our community, we have a commercial kitchen. We have food insecurity and real issues, not only because people cannot afford their food, but physically cannot get to grocery stores or food pantries. And if they can get to a food pantry, they cannot prepare their meals. So we really wanted to come up with a solution to that problem, a long-term sustainable solution. We installed a cogenerator, which supplies 40% of the energy needs to one of our buildings. And with those savings, we're subsidizing more than 100 people for their meals. So that problem is well on its way to being solved. Every year we prepare 95,000 meals in our building, so that we're just taking care of everybody, and they're not struggling. Our kitchen, though, is aged, and it is our building opened in 1971. We have several pieces of kitchen equipment that are nearing their end of life. So we have ovens, we have steamers, kettles. Those are one-time investments that, with a one-time investment, we can subsidize the food, and a one-time investment would really enable us to, carry on the program for the longer term. So I realize in our application, we may have asked for, more than is available, but I wanted to take the opportunity to say that with a smaller amount of funding, we can buy one piece of equipment instead of two, and that would be helpful. So, even a $20,000 award would enable us to replace something. So, I just wanted to take the opportunity to appeal to you, and with the hopes that maybe there could be some reconsideration.
So, any questions from committee members from Ms. Barrett? Good. Alder Seaman?
It looks like we approved $20,000 for the towers last year. Could you
So we
remind
are.
us what
Yep.
that money was spent on?
So is to replace parts for air handlers. So our air handlers are also, at the end of their life. That controls airflow. So in a very high-rise building, if there is no circulation, it becomes very stinky and doors slam shut, and it becomes really uncomfortable. So and that is almost complete. Project. We're well on our way. And we've had a CDBG in earlier years too. That they've been very helpful.
You mentioned, Ms. Barry, you mentioned at the beginning that there is definitely concern for funds coming, that would be coming to be cut. And so the initial requested amount is $80,000, and this is for the aging kitchen to assist folks that actually are there that probably don't have, that'll help everybody, but there are a lot of residents, it's to my understanding that some of them may not have family in the local area, so they depend on the towers.
Absolutely. So we're flanked by I-91 and I-95. An elderly person can't get on public transportation very easily. We don't have our own bus, although we're working on it. We are really we're fundraising right now to have our own bus to take people around. But even so, we have many people who really rely on our resident service coordinators for everything.
Alder Wingate?
I just want to say thank you for your service. I really don't have a question.
Thank you very much too. Thank you for your service
Yes.
too.
Thank
I'm very grateful.
For your service.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming
much.
down.
Thank you so much, Alder Rodriguez. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Mr. Clark, Christopher Clark, Agency on Aging of South Central Connecticut.
71.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Name and address for the record.
Christopher Clark, 117 Washington Avenue, New Haven, Unit 17. I'm calling, talking about the grocery program, and I want to say thank you for all that you have done for us already. But our program is designed to assist individuals with emergencies. We give them a $100 gift card. The gift card is basically based on emergencies, based on mobility issues. These are for seniors who are struggling, constantly dealing with issues where we get calls and someone is going through a situation to where they don't have no food. We know that food stamps are being cut. We know that there's food insecurities everywhere. So one great thing about our program is we deliver to them. We ask them what do they need. Nutrition is important, so we know that we ask them what they want. And we know that nutrition is important, and for the elderly, it is providing them with the right foods and the nutrients for them. And it's all part of the ability in which you have done for us to help them. So that's one of our programs where we're able to give them a $100 gift card. We go pick up the groceries for them, and we have volunteers to assist us with whatever. And then we have another program where We deliver groceries to them monthly. All New Haven residents or seniors who have mobility issues or they're struggling. We connect with food pantries and we have volunteers go out and deliver to them weekly. Different recipients in New Haven, seniors in New Haven. And we have volunteers that assist and we do this on a regular basis. And so those are the two programs that assist our elderly for the city.
Alderman Gay?
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Thank you for supporting my neighborhood over the last year. My constituents was very happy that they had someone to deliver their groceries to them, and I know that you did it personally on one or two of my constituents. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
On record, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Alder Douglas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So it says here, 100, you have 100 participants in this program. Where are they basically spread out around New Haven or?
Of course, so New Haven, you have Fairhaven, you have Newhall, you have the Hill, so we're everywhere. So we assist everything and anything that is a need.
How many people did you actually serve since Thanksgiving, let's say?
So we deal with quite a few because we're constant, especially at Thanksgiving time where residents are needing turkeys and all that stuff. During that time, it gets very busy. During the holidays, it gets very busy. So it's difficult because it's never enough. So we always need more. It's never enough, especially for the senior population, which is the biggest population here. So that's the concern. It's never enough, but we do what we can.
And I heard my colleagues say you personally deliver your stuff. I like that because I do that myself and I can understand. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem, Mr. Co-Chair. So following back up also, like the previous person I asked, so you also deal with a lot of residents who are aging in place, and probably you see that most of them do not have families in the local surrounding areas, so you are their point of contact for them to be serviced and receive their nutritious meals by yourself and your volunteers.
And it's what they pick. It's what they feel they need. So we ask them what do they like. That's the plus. So when we're asking them what do they want, that opens the door for them, to become even more happy. Because it's not just anything, it's what they need and what they feel is, good for them.
And I'm gonna comment in on her statement. I think also you just said opening the door, and it sounds like it's a little bit more than what you're presenting here, because these volunteers just don't drop and go. So they have an opportunity to connect with these residents where they may not have that human touch because they're home alone.
And we also give the volunteers a stipend, it's the gas, to get to these locations on a regular basis. It's nice to give them something for their services. That's also another part of the program.
Thank you for what you do and keep up the good work, and we appreciate it. Our seniors, just like our youth and everyone in between, deserve it. So thank you so much.
And I thank you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and presenting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's her birthday today.
Our next person is Tash Neal from Common Grounds. And then Tash Neal from Common Grounds, are they here? For the third time.
She moved the feet.
Okay, so Ms. Tash Neal is not here, but we'll catch her at a later date. Is that it? Yeah. Is there anyone else here from the public wishing to speak on any of the items on the agenda? Again, is there anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Anything on the agenda items? And for a third and final time, is there anyone here from the public wishing to speak?
Madam Chair, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
The item has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? The ayes have it. At this time,
I move, we adjourn.
Second.
the item has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. We are adjourned.
Home safety.
Travel safety.
What you mean? I just left. You're calling me back?
First of all,
That ain't my stuff.